Chapter 1: The Gallows and the Gate. The rope smells like old blood and mold. They say your life flashes before your eyes before death. Mine doesn't. There's no light. No flicker of childhood laughter or war banners or victory marches. Just silence, then cold. The crowd is loud, buzzing like insects, hungry for a spectacle. I don't look at them. Let them see the traitor hang. Let them believe the king's word over mine. My hands are bound behind me. My throat is raw from days without water. My knees ache from kneeling in the dark. But I keep my back straight. I won't give them the satisfaction of watching me break. General Elias Dorn, the herald calls, convicted of high treason against the crown. Sentence: death by hanging. I smile, just a little, because it wasn't treason. It was truth. Caius lied. That snake in silk robes whispered poison in the king's ear and wrapped it up in gold. And the king, Alaric the Merciful, slit my throat with a smile. Bastards, all of them. The noose is pulled tight around my neck. The executioner leans in. Any last words? He asks. I meet his eyes. I don't look away. I'll come back, and I'll take everything, I say. He flinches. Just slightly. That's enough. The floor drops. Black. I wake to screaming. No crying. A child, ragged sobs echoing in an alleyway. Takes a moment before I realize it's me. My own voice, small and hoarse. My body light and brittle. My skin is smooth. My legs are short. My bones feel like they've been hollowed out. I lurch upright and hit my head on a stone wall. Pain shoots down my spine. My hands are scraped. I look down. They're small. What in the hells? I stagger to a puddle in the corner of the alley. The reflection is murky, but I see it. The face of a boy, no older than 10. Dirty, bruised, terrified. But I know those eyes. I'd seen them in war camps and mirrored shields and the polished surface of my execution blade. It's me. Years younger. Before the war. Before the blood. Before him. What is this? I whisper. My voice cracks high and thin. My fingers curl into fists. My nails dig into my palms. This isn't a dream. It's a second chance. They find me 3 days later, stealing bread from a temple offering. I'd gone without food longer in war, but this boy's body doesn't remember how to survive. I blacked out the moment the priest caught me. When I wake, I'm warm. Cotton sheets. Soft light. The smell of sandalwood and old parchment. I sit up too fast. My head spins. A hand presses me back down. Careful, a voice says. It's calm. Gentle. The kind of voice you'd trust. The kind of voice I did trust once. I turn my head and see him. Laurent. He's younger than I remember. Not yet grayed. His hair is dark, tied neatly back. Robes of ink blue silk. A face carved like still water. Handsome, untouched by war or heartbreak. You're awake, he says, offering a cup of water. I start, then stop. I can't let him know who I am. Not yet. Where am I? My estate. You collapsed at the temple. They sent word. You have no family? He studies me, eyes unreadable. I shake my head. No father. No mother. No army. Just me, reborn in a child's skin, staring at the man who once called me his son. And who I once. No, not yet. Well, then you'll stay here for now. Until we find something better, Laurent says after a pause. I nod slowly. I keep my face still. Polite. Grateful. Inside, I'm screaming. Because this time I won't be discarded. I won't be sent to war or betrayed or butchered for loyalty. This time I'll play the part perfectly. Obedient. Sweet. Useful. I'll earn his trust. I'll stay close. Closer than anyone. And when the time comes, I'll never be abandoned again. Chapter 2: House of the Scholar. The house is too quiet. In my first life, I slept in barracks, in tents on bloodied soil. You learn to fall asleep listening for the click of blades, the hiss of whispers. Here, the loudest sound is the wind brushing against lacquered paper walls. It makes me nervous. Too much peace is just danger waiting in silence. Lawrence Estate sits on the edge of the capital. A scholar's retreat, not a warrior's fortress. Courtyards lined with winter plum trees, ornamental fish ponds, scrolls stacked higher than swords. The servants speak in hushed voices. None of them touch me. They glance, then look away. Maybe they sense what I am beneath the skin of this child. Maybe they should. Laurent brings me tea the next morning. He doesn't have to. He has stewards for this. But he does it anyway. "You're awake," he says. "I don't sleep much," I answer. He tilts his head at me. There's no suspicion in his eyes, only faint concern. "You're still recovering. You should let your body rest." I stare at the cup he sets down beside me. I want to ask why he's being kind, why he's bothering. He doesn't know me. I'm a street rat with bruises and dirt under my fingernails. But that's not true, is it? He's already being pulled in, just like last time. "Thank you," I say, soft and small. It takes effort to keep the venom out of my voice. I have to keep reminding myself. I'm not General Elias Dorn anymore. Not here. Not yet. Here I am no one. And no one is easy to mold. Later that day, I wander the house. The walls are lined with poetry. Philosophy. I run my fingers over the ink on the parchment. So delicate. So stupidly fragile. In my last life, Laurent taught me how to read war reports, not verses about falling snow. We didn't speak like this. We strategized. We survived. Now he calls me child. "Elias, do you know how to read?" Laurent says one evening, setting down a scroll as I enter the room. I nod. Of course I do. But I hesitate, then shake my head. "No, sir." He smiles, not unkindly. "Then we'll begin with the classics. Do you know who wrote this?" He holds up a pale scroll with a gold seal. I recognize it. Li Jian, the imperial philosopher who believed in harmony above justice. I quoted him once at a trial to justify mercy. It hadn't worked. I say nothing. The root of obedience is warmth. The branch of rebellion is hunger. Do you understand that? Laurent recites. I nod again. I don't smile. Then tell me what it means. I look him in the eye and say, if a man is starving, it doesn't matter how good your laws are. He'll still burn your house down. Laurent stills. Then he laughs. Not mocking. Not amused. It's rare. Tired, warm. That's one interpretation, he says. He studies me a second longer. I look down. I don't want him to see it. The part of me that remembers. The part that's still a weapon under this child's skin. I start playing the part better after that. I stumble through reading exercises. I fumble the calligraphy brush like it's too heavy. I let my voice waver during memorization, just enough for him to offer help. Like this, he says, wrapping his fingers around mine. I stay very still. The ink blotches across the page, bleeding out like something dying. Nights are worse. The house is too large. My room is too clean. I can't sleep. The silence creeps in through the cracks and whispers like ghosts. I dream of my execution. Not the fall, the stillness after. And then I dream of Laurent standing at the gallows. Not stopping it. Not looking away. Just watching. I wake up gasping. Sweat cold on my back. My throat clenched like the rope's still there. On the third night I find him. He's in the study, of course. Still awake. Robe loose at the collar. Candlelight flickering over his face. He looks up when I enter. Elias. I say nothing. I just walk in, quiet as a shadow, and sit by the door. He watches me for a moment, then returns to his scroll. If you're going to sit there, you might as well read with me, he says. I just didn't want to be alone, I whisper. He doesn't say anything to that, but he sets down a second scroll beside me. That's when I know he's letting me in again. And this time I won't leave as his son. Chapter 3. A virtuous man. There are people in this world who can be kind without agenda. I've killed most of them. Laurent has not raised his voice once since I came to his house. He doesn't drink. He doesn't gamble. He prays before his meals, not out of ritual, but because he believes something is listening. Even when he's angry, he pauses, thinks, speaks slowly, controlled. It's disgusting. It makes me want to throw something just to see if he'd snap. Today he takes me into the city. We ride in a modest carriage. No guards. No entourage. He doesn't flaunt his status like the rest of the court. Doesn't act like the king's favorite advisor. He just opens the door for me and says, "It's important you know the world outside these walls. The world. I know the world. I've seen it burn. I've made it burn." But I nod like a good little orphan and we go. The market is loud and filthy and alive. Vendors shout over each other. Fish guts spill across the cobbles. Perfume girls drift past in clouds of jasmine. A pickpocket brushes my sleeve, and I almost grab his wrist out of habit, almost shatter his fingers on instinct. But I remember, I'm not a general anymore. I'm a boy. So I flinch and step closer to Laurent, wide-eyed and quiet. He places a hand gently on my back. I hate how much I don't hate it. We stop by a bookseller. Laurent browses the shelves while I pretend to be fascinated by a stack of poetry. He picks out a thin volume bound in faded green silk and hands it to the merchant. "For the boy," he says. I glance at the title. "The Crane and the River. A Child's Fable." I almost laugh. That's what he sees when he looks at me. An empty page. A gentle, quiet boy to shape, to guide. I wonder what he'd do if I told him the truth. That I've led men to war. That I've killed with my bare hands. That I died choking on a lie, and I came back not for peace, but for him. Would he still buy me books? Would he still smile like that? That night I fake a fever. Nothing serious. Just a touch of paleness. A slight tremble. I skip dinner and lie still in bed with my forehead pressed to the pillow. When the servant checks, I don't move. Soon enough, footsteps. Soft. Familiar. Laurent. He kneels by the bed, places a cool hand on my cheek. His touch is careful, chaste, but I can feel the guilt in it. That quiet kind of sorrow only good men carry. "You should have said something," he murmurs. I breathe slow, shallow, enough to sound weak. He stays beside me for a long time. Eventually, he says, almost to himself, "You remind me of someone." I want to ask who. I want to pry it out of him. Instead, I let my eyes flutter open. "Do you wish I wasn't here?" I whisper. His expression changes, barely, but I see it. "No, never," he says, firm, immediate. He tucks the blanket around me, smoothing the edges like I'm something delicate. I'm not. I'm a knife wrapped in silk, and he doesn't even see the blade. Later that night, when he's gone, I take the book he gave me and open it. The fable is simple. A crane nurses a wounded fish back to health. When the river dries up, the crane sacrifices his own wings to carry the fish to a new stream. It's supposed to be noble, poetic, but all I can think is, the fish never asked for help. The crane never asked for thanks. And they both died anyway. The next day, I smile brighter. I bow deeper. I hold the book when he walks by, make sure he sees. Laurent returns my smile. There it is. The hook is in. Now I just have to make sure he never pulls it out. Chapter 4. A Boy's Devotion. I start waking up before him. Not because I have to. Not because I'm trying to impress him. Because I want to see him like this, unguarded. Real. In the early hours, before the stewards rustle awake and the house begins its quiet breathing, Laurent walks alone in the garden. He thinks no one watches. He sips his tea. His robe is wrapped loose. He looks older then. Tired. Human. I sit at the window, knees to chest, arms around them. Silent. I watch him every morning. And he never sees me. In my old life, affection was a weapon. Love was a liability. I didn't have time to feel it. I had men to command, borders to secure, blades to dodge. But this is different. He brings me new brushes for my writing practice. He corrects my form without irritation. When I get frustrated, he doesn't scold, he waits. I've never been handled like that before. Like I might matter just because I exist. It makes something inside me ache. Today, I fall on purpose during martial drill. It's the court's expectation that even noble children train in the art of defense. Laurent hired a tutor 2 weeks ago, old, slow, ceremonial. I'm far beyond needing him. I could take the man's blade from his hands and end him in 5 seconds. But I trip. I let my knee scrape. I let the wooden blade clatter across the stone. I let myself look fragile. Enough, Laurent says sharply. He crosses the courtyard with quick strides and kneels at my side. I look up at him, eyes wide. Not tears. Not yet. Just a tremble in the lip. Enough to pull him in. You're pushing too hard, he says. I want to be strong, I whisper. You already are. I look down. No, I say, just loud enough to catch. And then, barely audible, I add, not like you. He goes still. Then he rests his hand on my shoulder. It's too easy. Too soft. That night, he lets me sit beside him while he works. Ink bleeds across paper in the flicker of the oil lamp. His handwriting is like his speech, calm, neat, decisive. I rest my head on the armrest of his chair, pretending to doze. But I watch the way his fingers move. Long, elegant. Not made for war. Not like mine. You don't need to stay up, he murmurs. I want to, I say, eyes half-lidded. He glances down at me. Just a flicker. Then returns to his scroll. I'm getting better at this. He no longer sees a lost child. He sees someone dependent. Later, he asks, do you remember anything of your parents? I shake my head. Truthfully, I don't. Not from this life. In the last one, I remembered bitterness, hunger, abandonment. But here, just blurred pain and the sound of rats under floorboards. No names. No faces. Just cold. I search for the word. Laurent doesn't speak. But I hear his breath catch. Guilt like a hook through flesh. You don't have to be afraid here, he says. I lift my eyes to his. I'm not afraid. Not when I'm with you. It's true. When I'm with him, I don't feel fear. I feel possession. He flinches a little. Only for a second. But I see it. Good. The next day, I leave a folded poem on his writing table. Just 6 lines, written in my best hand. If I were a shadow, I'd follow you home. If I were a bird, I'd perch near your gate. If I were a sun, then I would not say it. I'd simply kneel and stay. I sign it with no name. That evening I catch him reading it. His fingers hover at the edge of the paper, not folding it, not tossing it away. He sets it down slowly and walks outside. I stay hidden, but I'm smiling. He thinks I love him like a father. He's wrong. I did once. But now I want more. Chapter 5, Ghosts of the Past. Everyone has a wound they never speak of. A name they flinch at. A ghost they feed in silence. I need to know Lawrence, because if I want to break him open, I need to press there. I hear her name for the first time from a servant. Livia. It drips from their mouth like incense and dust. Before the boy, they whisper, assuming I can't hear. There was her. Lady Livia. She's the one who softened him. Then she died. And he sealed himself shut. Dead wife. Tragic past. Of course. It always starts with someone dead. But they don't know the rest. Not yet. I will. That night, I slip into the library when Laurent is asleep. I don't make a sound. My bare feet know the boards that don't creak. My hands know how to pick locks quieter than breath. He keeps her letters in a lacquered box behind a row of untouched scrolls. Of course he does. Sentimental fool. I sit cross-legged on the floor and unfold the papers one by one. Her handwriting is light, careless. She called him my storm in silk. She signed her name with a flower beside it. Her words are sweet, empty, pretty the way lies are. She loved him, yes, but she didn't know him. Not like I do. I hear his footsteps and I don't move. Let him catch me. Let him see. The door opens. Candlelight flares. Elias. His voice is low. Not angry. Not yet. I look up at him, paper in hand. I'm sorry, I couldn't sleep. I say. You shouldn't be reading those. He walks toward me. Kneels slowly. Takes the letter from my hand like it's something fragile. I wanted to understand you. She made you happy, didn't she? I say, small, honest sounding. Laurent exhales through his nose. Looks down at the paper a long time. Yes, she did. He says at last. Do you still love her? A pause. That silence is the answer. I lean forward just enough to look him in the eye. I don't want to replace her. He blinks. The words catch him off guard. I just want to stay, even if I'm not her, even if I'm nothing. Don't leave me. I whisper. He softens. I see it. His whole posture bends inward. You're not nothing, don't say that, he says. But you hide from me. You never talk about her. Or you. You always wear that smile like it's armor. I push. His jaw tightens. For a second, I think I've gone too far. But then he sighs. He puts the letter back in the box. Closes it. Locks it. She died in childbirth. I wasn't there. I was away at court. He says quietly. I stay silent. She begged me not to go. Said she had a bad feeling. I thought she was just anxious. By the time I came back, she was already buried. His voice turns tight. Guilt. He carries it like chainmail beneath his robe. I shift closer. It wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. His hand is on the box. White-knuckled. He's bleeding guilt, and I want to lick it off his skin like sugar. She would have forgiven you, I say. He doesn't answer. The next morning, I leave a white plum blossom on the altar in the East Hall, where her name is carved into stone. Laurent sees it, says nothing, but his eyes linger on me longer than they used to. Every time he looks at me now, I know what he sees. Not Livia, but someone who stayed. Someone who chose him over and over, even knowing the pain. Even after death. Because I remember mine. He doesn't know that part yet. But he will. That night, I pretend to sleep beside the brazier in the study again. He covers me with a shawl. The way his hand lingers. Gentle, deliberate, almost afraid. I know what he's thinking. He's already imagining losing me. Good. Because I'm never letting go. Chapter 6. The prince returns. I taste metal before I see him. The scent of polished leather, honeyed wine, and mint. A soldier's perfume, wrapped in a noble's skin. The carriage stops at the front gate with an obnoxious clang. For guards in royal livery. Crest of the phoenix rising. Too much for a friendly visit. Not enough for a threat. Not yet. Laurent steps out to greet them. I stand behind the pillar and watch. And then I see him. Caius. In this life, he's younger, barely 20, all gold buttons and arrogance. His hair too neat, his smile too sharp. But it's him. The one who smiled as I died. Lord Laurent, forgive the intrusion. His Majesty sends his regards. Caius says, bowing. His voice is pleasant, sweetened, sugar-glazed rot. Laurent returns the bow, composed as always. Prince Caius, I hadn't expected a visit. Spontaneity is a virtue in youth. Isn't it? Caius laughs lightly. Besides, I've heard whispers of a remarkable boy under your roof. One who reads before he can spar. I had to see for myself. The bastard smiles. I don't move. I keep my face flat, my breath even. But inside me the war drums start again. They dine on the terrace that evening. Caius lounges like a spoiled cat, asking too many questions. His eyes dart to me constantly, assessing, testing. Something about him feels off. Maybe he suspects something already. I answer with blank politeness. The perfect orphan. Soft-spoken. Grateful. He leans forward across the table. And how long have you been with our good scholar? 3 months, I reply. He tilts his head. You speak well. Too well. Almost court-polished. I smile small and tight. I try to imitate Lord Laurent. Caius turns to Laurent. A dangerous model. He's raised boys sharper than generals, hasn't he? Laurent's lips thin slightly. That's not my aim. Oh? No dreams of shaping the next great statesman. Caius raises a brow. No. Only to raise him into someone kind. Laurent's tone cools. Kind. That word stings more than it should. Because I'm not. Not anymore. That night, I walk into Laurent's study uninvited. He's poring over a scroll. He doesn't look up. Why is he here? Ask. Laurent glances at me, then back to the page. He's the king's younger cousin, and a prince in name if not temperament. Sometimes the court sends him to sniff around. So they're watching you. He looks up, finally. You shouldn't worry about that. I do. He studies me. Why? Because they already destroyed me once. Because they'll take you, twist you, use you like they used me. Because I can't lose this house, this life, you. I just do, I say. His gaze softens. He stands, walks over, and places a hand on my shoulder. You're safe here. No, I'm not. But I nod anyway. Later, I slip out and follow Caius's guards. I want to know how long he plans to stay. I want to know who he speaks to at night. I want to know if he recognized me. Because if he did, if there's even the slightest flicker of familiarity in those smug little eyes, I will kill him. I will do it with a smile. And I'll bury him under the peach tree behind the eastern wall where no one walks in spring. But he doesn't recognize me. Not yet. When I eavesdrop near his guest quarters, all I hear is his voice, gloating to a valet. He's clever, that boy. Watch him. Too clever for a stray. Laurent should be careful. He suspects. And that's enough. I smile in the dark. Let him sniff, prod, doubt. Because I already know how he dies in one life. And in this one, I'll make it worse. The next morning, I wear white, the color of mourning. Laurent notices. That's not your usual choice. I had a dream, I say. Oh, I don't look at him when I answer. I dreamed someone tried to take you from me. Chapter 7, The Garden at Dusk. Laurent never locks his door. He trusts too easily. I tell myself I won't cross that line. That I can stay good, stay still, stay his. But good has never fit right on me. It slips off when I'm tired. When I'm hurting. When I want. Tonight I want. The rain has passed. The garden smells of damp stone and earth. Laurent is there, kneeling beside a bed of crushed lavender, tying up stalks bent by the storm. His sleeves are rolled. The candlelight from the study behind him casts him in gold and shadow. I watch from the corridor. He doesn't notice me right away. I should turn away, but I don't. I take one step out into the open. The stone is cold beneath my bare feet. Elias? It's late. He says, surprised. I couldn't sleep. I answer, voice soft. He wipes his hands on a cloth, rises. The storm kept you up? I nod. Not a lie. The storm did keep me up, just not the one outside. I heard voices. Laurent stills. Voices. In my head. Sometimes they sound like my past. The part one don't remember. I add quickly. I watch the way his face shifts. Compassion. Worry. A sliver of helplessness. Good. I've learned which words open him like a wound. He steps closer. You're safe now, he says. Always the same thing. Like he thinks repetition will rewrite the truth. He rests a hand on my shoulder. It lingers. I don't want to sleep alone tonight. Just this once. I say, eyes down. He nods. I follow him back inside. His room is too quiet. The lamp glows low. The bed is neatly made. The scent of cedar and old parchment hanging in the sheets. I slide under the blanket while he pours water at the basin. I watch his back. The slope of it. The scar near his left shoulder. The one from a knife wound in a riot before I was ever born. He sits on the edge of the bed, back turned to me. You don't have to speak if you don't want to, just rest. He says gently. I want to ask something, I say. Ask. If I weren't a boy, I begin slowly. Would you still care for me like this? His body stiffens. What kind of question is that? I push, carefully. If I were older, or if I looked different, would you still let me stay close? He doesn't answer. I shift under the covers, move closer. Now I'm pressed against his side. My head at his shoulder. My hand resting on his arm. He doesn't pull away. Laurent. Sometimes when I wake up, I forget who I'm supposed to be. I whisper. He turns to look at me then. His eyes search mine. You're just Elias, he says. No, I'm more than that. I whisper. My hand drifts up. I rest it lightly on his chest. I feel his heartbeat. Fast. He catches my wrist, not hard but firm. Elias, go to sleep. He says quietly. I don't move. I let the moment stretch. Tight. Charged. I'm not a child, I say. You are. I've seen things. I remember things I shouldn't. That doesn't make you older, it makes you hurt, he says. His voice is frayed now. Silence. Then, I can help you heal, but not like this, he adds. He gently pushes my hand away, turns off the lamp, turns his back to me. I lie there in the dark, face hot with something between shame and rage. He didn't reject me with anger. He did it with pity. That's worse. But I'm not done. He can push me away tonight, but he's already touched me. He already let me in. And I will use every inch of that breach until he never wants me to leave again. Chapter 8. The Scholar's Rejection. He doesn't touch me for 3 days. Not a hand on the shoulder. Not a brush of fingertips when passing tea. Nothing. He doesn't look at me the same, either. He watches me like a man trying not to. That's worse than disgust. That's fear. On the 4th day, he summons me to the study. The door is open, but the way he sits, rigid, formal, hands folded over a scroll, tells me what this is before he even speaks. My chest tightens. Sit, he says. I don't. I stand by the door. He sighs, rubs his temple. Elias, please. I walk in slow, deliberate, sit across from him. He won't meet my eyes. I've made arrangements, he says. My blood goes still. What kind of arrangements? You're a gifted boy. Your mind is sharp. Too sharp to be wasted here. I've written to the academy in the capital. They've agreed to take you under scholarship. Silence. He goes on like a knife pressing in slow. It's one of the best institutions in the empire. You'll have access to every library, every master. You'll be among your peers, boys your age. I stare at him. He thinks this is mercy, that this is kindness, that he's saving me. He doesn't understand. Why? Ask. You know why. No, say it. I say. His lips tighten. His voice is quiet. Because I crossed a line. Or you did. Or maybe we both did. And I don't know how to make it right except by ending it here. I speak through clenched teeth. Don't pretend this is about the academy. He doesn't answer. This is about that night. He doesn't deny it. That night didn't mean anything to you? Ask. It meant too much. That burns. I stand suddenly, knocking the chair back. He doesn't flinch. I trusted you, I say. I never asked for that, you forced it on me, he says. And just like that, something inside me snaps. Fine, send me away. Just like everyone else did. Pretend I'm just a boy who got confused and clung too hard. I say low and bitter. Elias, I bet you told Livia the same thing before you left her behind, too. He freezes. Good. Now he knows how it feels. You can't save me, and you never could. So stop acting like this is some noble sacrifice. You're not a hero, Laurent. You're just a coward who can't deal with what he feels. I say. His face twists, hurt flickering behind the calm mask. Then he stands. Get out, he says. I almost laugh. I want to scream. I want to break something. I want to throw myself at him and ask why not me? Why not this? Why not stay? But I don't. I leave. Because I know something he doesn't. I always come back. That night I don't sleep. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, and make a list. Who I was, what I lost, what I want, what I'm willing to do to keep it. Laurent thinks he can send me away and this will end. He doesn't understand. I would burn down the world for a place in his arms. And if he won't let me in as a son, I'll make him need me as something else. Chapter 9, The Breaking Point. You can only push a man so far before he stops knowing what he is. I've been testing Laurent's limits for weeks, pressing gently, then harder, watching him bend. Tonight he bends too far, and something breaks. It starts with a letter, royal seal, crimson wax, the king's handwriting sharp and cruel, like a blade in formal dress. I see it before Laurent does. He doesn't even know it's come, but I do. The king wants Laurent back at court, and this time he means to keep him there. He's pulling Laurent back into the palace, the same nest of rot that chewed me up in my last life and spat me into a noose. I burn the letter. Laurent finds the ash. He says nothing, but he knows. I see it in his eyes, shock first, then sadness. Not anger. Never anger. That's what makes this worse. You burned it, he says. I say nothing. He closes his eyes. That was treason. I tilt my head. So report me. I won't. Why? He doesn't answer. I step toward him. Slow. Controlled. Say it. He turns his face away. Say it. I repeat more forcefully now. Say what you are to me. I'm your guardian, he replies. Hollow. Weak. No, that's not true anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I say. I stop inches from him. I can feel the heat of him. The way his breath changes. I love you, I whisper. He flinches like I struck him. Elias. You know I do. You've known. You felt it that night. That was grief, he says. You're confusing grief for. I press a hand against his chest. He grabs my wrist, but not to push me away. You need to stop this, you're not well, he says. His voice is shaking now. I lean closer, my mouth near his ear. Then make me well. Fix me. Keep me. He breathes in like he's drowning. I kiss him. It's not soft. It's not kind. It's every ounce of hunger and madness I've been choking on since the gallows. I expect him to pull away, to hit me, to scream. He doesn't. He lets it happen. For 1 second. Then, he shoves me back. Hard. I hit the wall. Breath knocked from me. He stands across from me. The room goes silent. I see it all over him. The horror. The shame. The guilt cracking through his ribs like ice in wood. I'm sorry, I say, voice trembling, but it's too late. Get out, he says. Laurent, get out. I run. Not because I'm afraid. Because I've won too much. Because he'll never look at me the same way again. And for the first time in 2 lives, that hurts. I don't sleep. I stare at the moonlight cutting across the floor, thinking about what I just destroyed. I wanted him to need me. Instead, I made him hate himself. I didn't kiss him because I wanted love. I kissed him because I wanted power. And I got it. But the victory tastes like ash. In the morning, he's gone. His study is empty. His bed untouched. The staff won't meet my eyes. I sit alone in the garden, my hands in my lap. I whisper the truth out loud, to no one. I broke him. And worse, I liked it. Chapter 11. The silence between them. The house feels colder now. It isn't. The weather hasn't changed. The braziers are lit. The curtains pulled closed to keep the drafts out. But the silence is different. It's the kind that fills the lungs. Heavy. Wet. Like drowning in a room with no water. He hasn't spoken to me in 2 days. Not one word. Not a glance. He eats in his study. He walks alone in the garden. He reads by the lantern until the light dies and still doesn't look toward me. It's not rejection. It's erasure. And somehow that's worse. I try at first. I knock at his door. Laurent. I call. Nothing. The door doesn't open. He doesn't even ask me to go away. I leave a note. I'm sorry. I didn't know how else to ask you to stay. He doesn't reply. I know he read it because when I check the next morning, it's gone. But the trash bin is empty too. That means he burned it. The staff avoids me now. They're polite, distant, as if I've grown thorns. Maybe I have. I see myself in the mirror and barely recognize the boy staring back. He's pale, quiet, dangerous. But under his skin is something pathetic. Something lonely. I think about leaving. I pack a satchel slowly, half out of impulse, half out of fear. If I disappear, he'll feel it. That's what I tell myself. He'll miss me. He'll come after me. He'll see me not as a mistake but as a loss. But I don't walk out the door. Because I don't want him to come after me. I want him to come back. That night I dream of the gallows again. But this time it's him standing on the platform. The rope around his neck. And I'm in the crowd watching, mouth open but no sound coming out. I try to scream. I can't. I wake up choking on air, my hand pressed to my own throat. Morning comes gray and slow. I go to his study again. He's inside, alone, reading something with trembling hands. I watch him from the doorway. He doesn't look up. But this time I speak. I'm still here. His fingers tighten around the scroll. I know, he says, voice low. It's the first thing he's said to me since that night. I step into the room. He doesn't tell me to leave. So I sit down across from him, not too close. There's a long pause. Then, why did you do it? He asks. Not angry, just tired. I didn't know how else to make you stay, I answer. That's not love, Elias. I know. Then what is it? I swallow hard. I think it's everything left after love burns out. He closes the scroll, looks at me for the first time in days. His eyes are red. Not from tears, just exhaustion. The kind of fatigue that lives in the soul. I don't hate you, he says. It breaks something in me. I wish you did. I wish you'd hit me. Curse me. Throw me out. I whisper. I can't, because some part of me, some stupid, broken part, still hopes you'll become someone worth loving. He says and leaves the room without looking back. That night, I sit on the floor beside his door. I don't knock. I don't cry. I just sit there, listening to the silence between us, trying to figure out if it's too late to change, or if I ever even wanted to. Chapter 11. The Scholar's Letter. The letter is not meant for me. That's how I know I have to read it. I find it sealed in Lawrence's drawer. Not hidden, just tucked beneath a book of poetry he never reads anymore. The wax is soft, still fresh. My hands shake when I take it. There's no name on the front, no address, but I already know who it's meant for. It's a confession, or an escape, or a goodbye. I read it standing up because I know if I sit, I won't get back up. To His Grace, Lord Chancellor Velian, I cannot continue. The boy Elias is no longer just a ward. He is something else now, and I don't know when the line blurred. I don't know if it was him, or me, or grief wearing his face. I allowed it. I failed him. I don't trust myself anymore. Please find another sponsor for his scholarship. Someone distant. Someone better. I will be leaving for the southern provinces within the month. I will not take him with me. I reread it. Once, twice, 3 times. Each line hits like falling bricks. Not because of what he's doing, because of how gently he's trying to do it. Like he still wants to spare me. Even now, he's planning to disappear. Not to punish me, to protect himself from me. And he didn't even tell me. He just planned it in quiet, like packing up a house you don't live in anymore. The kindest form of abandonment. The cleanest cut. I stand there until my knees give out. The letter falls from my hand. I press my palms to the floor. And I finally say the words I wouldn't let myself say before. I ruined everything. I don't cry the way I used to. In my first life, I learned how to bleed dry without shedding a tear. Crying is a thing you grow out of when you've watched your own men die on your orders. But now I cry, and it feels human. It feels like punishment. The door creaks open. I don't look up. I hear his footsteps. Slow, careful, like he already knows what I've done. He crouches beside me. Where did you find it? He asks. I can't answer. I just press my forehead harder to the floorboards. Like if I dig deep enough, I can bury myself in the wood. He doesn't yell, doesn't touch me. He just kneels there, beside the wreckage. Finally, I whisper, "Don't leave." He's silent. "I'll go," I say. "If that's what you need. I'll leave. I'll vanish. Just don't disappear on me." I look up then. His eyes are tired. His face blank. But he's listening. I kneel upright, knees against his, voice cracking. "I know I broke something in you. I tried to make you need me, and I hated that it didn't work. So I took too much. I knew it was too much." I reach for his hand, and he lets me take it. Not in forgiveness. In mourning. He closes his eyes. One breath. Then another. Then, "I was never going to send the letter," he says quietly. I blink. "What?" "I wrote it because I needed to see the end before it happened. I needed to know I could walk away." He says, "But you weren't going to." He finally looks at me. "No, but I still might," he says. I nod, because I deserve that. But I'm not giving up. Not this time. That night, I don't sit outside his door. I don't beg. I take the letter, fold it neatly, wrap it in silk, and I leave it on his pillow. A promise that I read every word, that I felt every knife, and that this time I'll earn the right to stay. Chapter 12. The King's Hunting Dogs. The king hasn't forgotten me. I can feel it in the way the guards stand straighter when they see me in town, in the way Caius's name drifts back into court gossip, in the way Lawrence's mail is too empty. Silence from the palace isn't peace. It's the breath before a blow. Comes at midday, a royal envoy at the gate. Not a letter this time, men. Velvet-robed, sharp-eyed, voices coiled in false politeness. I'm the first to see them, and I know what they are before they speak. Retrievers. The king wants Laurent in the capital. Wants him visible, obedient, controllable. They don't ask. They command. I wait in the entrance hall as they are received. Laurent stands before them, all quiet steel and measured words. We are in mourning. The house is not receiving visitors. He tells them. Mourning whom? The envoy asks. My old self. Now that I know what the court wants from me. Laurent answers. Clever reply. Too clever. The envoy's smile is thin. Then perhaps His Majesty should summon your new self directly. That's my cue. I step forward. Calm. Uninvited. Or, His Majesty should learn the limits of his reach. I say. The room stills. But not like this. The envoy turns. And who are you? His ward, though I doubt that title means much to you. I answer. You should be in school, the man says coldly. I smile. I am in school, and this is my first lesson in power. Knowing when to burn a bridge before someone else walks across it. I say. Laurent murmurs my name, soft warning. I ignore him. I know what the king wants. He wants Laurent in court so he can dress him in gold, use his name, and throw him into a war of tongues he doesn't want. I say, stepping forward. You presume much. I remember too much. The envoy narrows his eyes. A child's memory is a fragile thing, and a king's leash is shorter than it looks. That hits. The room shifts. The guards at the door grip their hilts, unsure if this is still diplomacy or the first breath of treason. The envoy glances at Laurent. Do you allow your boy to speak for you now? Laurent answers before I can. I don't allow him anything, but I won't silence him for being right. He says. That freezes the envoy. Just long enough. I step closer. My voice low now only for him. If the court tries to pull him in again, I'll follow. And if I follow, I'll speak. And what would you speak of? All the things the king wants buried. I smile politely, starting with what happened to General Dorn. The envoy says nothing, but I see it in his eyes. Recognition. I don't have to explain. He remembers the execution. He remembers the scandal. And now he's wondering what I know, who I really am, who I might become. They leave without another word. Cowards. Laurent doesn't speak as the gates close behind them. We stand in the courtyard, surrounded by winter air and stunned silence. Finally, he turns to me. You should have let me handle it. I couldn't. I didn't ask you to do that. I know, he sighs. You put a target on yourself. There was always one. Now it's on the front of my chest instead of my back. I say. He looks at me for a long time, and for the first time in weeks, I see something behind his gaze that isn't fear or sorrow. I see respect, maybe even a little pride. You've changed, he says. I nod. I don't want to be the reason you disappear. Not again. I say. He's quiet. Then, thank you. Later that night, I sit alone in the garden, moonlight washing the stones. I think about the life I lived before this one, how I died trying to protect a country that didn't care. This time, I protect one person. And for the first time since I came back, I don't feel like a weapon. I feel like a son, or something close. Chapter 13. The Price of Redemption. The court doesn't come again. But I know it's not over. They don't need to send swords to kill a man. They can do it with letters, with exile, with silence. So I make the choice before they do. Laurent doesn't know I've gone to the magistrate. He doesn't know I've withdrawn from the academy. or petitioned to transfer to a provincial office, or written a recommendation in my own name for another boy to take my place. He doesn't know I signed a document severing his guardianship over me. He'll find out tomorrow. That's the point. The hardest part is not telling him. The hardest part is sitting across from him at dinner, pretending not to memorize the way he holds his cup, or how his thumb rests against the rim. He looks at me more often now, speaks gently, like something has healed if not fully, then enough to breathe again. If I stay, I'll break it all over again. If I stay, I'll want too much again. That night, I leave the letter on his desk, unsealed. I want him to know I didn't hide this time. Laurent, you told me once that you hoped I'd become someone worth loving. I think I'm starting to understand what that means. Not someone who clings. Not someone who wounds just to be held. But someone who leaves without needing to be chased. I won't ask for forgiveness. I know I stole something from you. I'm only trying to return what pieces I can. You saved me, not with words or rules or lectures, but by staying kind even after I broke you. So I'll go now, while you can still look at me and not hate what you see. Thank you for the life you gave me. This time I'll try not to waste it. I leave before sunrise. No guards, no escort, just a horse, a satchel, and silence. The road south is long. I'm sent to an office near the border. Quiet, forgotten, a bureaucrat's graveyard. It suits me. I sort grain reports, handle land disputes, stamp papers. I work with my hands, keep my head down. I speak politely, smile gently. I become the version of myself Laurent hoped for. The one who didn't need power to feel real. At night I still dream of him. But the rope is gone. The gallows are gone. Now it's just his voice, sometimes reading, sometimes scolding gently. Once he says my name like a prayer. That's enough. Months pass. I start to forget the sound of my own rage. And in its place something else grows. Quiet, still, unarmed. Peace. Chapter 14. The Father Who Stayed. Spring returns before he does. The plum trees bloom pale and soft, too beautiful for a town like this. The petals fall into the irrigation ditches like prayers from a place that forgot how to pray. I watch the flowers from the courtyard bench I sanded myself. The finish still isn't smooth, but it holds. Like me. The village children call me scribe. They bring me broken toys and arguments over fence lines. I fix both with equal patience. I don't raise my voice anymore, not because I'm afraid to, but because I finally know how not to. Most people here don't know my name beyond Elias, and none of them know what I was, who I was, and I let it stay that way. When I see the horse at the edge of the road, I don't stand. When I see the figure dismounting, slow and steady, I still don't move. Only when he steps into the light, when I see him, does my breath catch. Laurent. Older somehow. His face thinner. His robes simpler. But his eyes, those are the same. Kind. Careful. Still watching me like he hasn't decided if he should stay. I rise. Not all the way. Just enough to meet him without looming. We stare at each other for a long moment. He speaks first. I got your letter. That was months ago, I say. I read it every week. I nod. Not because I know what to say. Because I don't. He looks past me toward the bench. The trees. You've built something. Small things. But they don't fall apart. I say, is it enough? I hesitate. Then, it's real. He steps closer. You changed. I shake my head. No. I just stopped trying to rewrite the parts that were ugly. I folded them into something useful. He nods. Takes one step closer. And then another. Until we're standing almost shoulder to shoulder, the petals falling between us. I'm not here to forgive you, he says. I know. I'm not here to fix you. I stopped asking. I'm not your father. That one stings. Still. But I nod. I know that too. He exhales. I'm here because I want to see what you'll build next. And I think I'd like to be a part of it. If you'll let me. He says. I close my eyes. For a long time I don't speak. Then, you always had a place here. I just had to earn mine first. He looks at me and places a hand. lightly, slowly, on my shoulder. No claim, no command, just presence. We sit on the bench together. The silence is full now, not empty. No ghost, no rope around my neck. Just the sound of bees in the trees. And someone who stayed,